Hello and welcome to another edition of Qmailtoaster Video Magazine. I'm your host, Jake Vickers. In this edition, we're going to talk about filtering your mail a little bit using maildrop or mail filter. Now, maildrop is included in the courier package, so you get this by default, but to actually use some of the filters that I'm going to show you in this video, you are going to need to recompile Qmailadmin using the spam box option, and that needs to be enabled for the user. There are other ways to actually get the maildrop script or mail filter script to run, including the custom rules we're going to do, but I think this is probably the easiest and most concise way to do it. So once again, go back if you haven't done this already and recompile Qmailadmin to include the spam box option. Once you get that done, go ahead and go back through, and for each user that you're going to want to enable these custom rules, you're going to need to enable the spam box for the user. And I'll show you why that needs to be done as well here in the video. So let's go ahead and jump right into our mail server here. Now, why would you want to filter your mail, you ask? Well, doesn't it already catch spam and things of that nature? Well, sure it does. Like in my situation, I use a desktop and a laptop, and I use IMAP. I like to sort my mail into various folders. I have mailing lists that a lot of mailing lists that I'm on, and when a message comes in for that specific, or for a specific mailing list, I like to go ahead and just have the message move to the folder. Now you can do this in your email client. I use Thunderbird, and you can go in and set up rules in Thunderbird that will automatically, when a mail comes in, match certain criteria, and then move it into the folder for you. This, in my specific scenario, would require me to set up the same exact rules on both my desktop and my laptop, because if my desktop was on and my laptop wasn't, it would go ahead and move it. If I didn't have the rules set up on my laptop, and my desktop was off and I turned my laptop on, it wouldn't move the email messages for me. So what I'm going to show you how to do is actually how to move them on the server itself. So when the message comes in, as it gets delivered, it'll just go ahead and automatically drop into the correct folder that you want it to drop into. There's a lot of advantages to this, and I'm sure you can probably think of a few different scenarios how this would work for you and/or your users. And probably just make things a little bit easier for you than having to set up defined rules in everybody's different email clients, or worrying about do you have the same rules set up on multiple computers, so on and so forth. If you just set them up on the server, it's easier to do it that way. Obviously, you're going to need root access to the server to do this, so it's not for everybody. This is mainly geared toward people that are running their own mail server, or if you're using an account on the mail server that you happen to administer and you join a lot of mailing lists like I do, then this will help you filter your email in that manner. Okay, now that we're logged into our server, as before in the old videos, I like to go ahead and just check and see who may be logged into the server. You can see I have another session open there. I also like to run the last command, see who the last few users were running, or the last few users who had logged in. And we'll go ahead and clear our screen there. And I also like to check and make sure that my Qmail server is up and running. And there we can see all the daemons are up and running. This is the same exact machine that we've been using in the previous videos. So if you've been following along, you're at the same exact point we are. Now I'm going to make a couple assumptions in this video and assume that you have already recompiled Qmailadmin to enable the spam box, and that it is also enabled for the user in question. Now I don't know specifically if it's open for a user here, but we'll use example.com, and looks like Postmaster is the only account we have. I'm just trying to find an email address so we can show you how to do this. Now, as I said before, you need to enable the spam box option. I think this is probably the easiest and most concise way to do that. Because when the spam box option is enabled for a user, it actually goes into, if you go into your /etc/mail directory, what that spam box actually does is it runs this script right here called mail filter. Let's go ahead and jump into the script and you can see what some of the options are. Let's see if Vim gives us some more colors. Nope. Okay. What this script does is it runs through and it will take your email messages, and if they score above a default score of 8, what it will do is it will run it through SALearn so that it learns that the message is spam, and then it'll also put it in the user's spam folder. Now you can adjust this here. We'll cover this in another video. What I do want to show you here is include any user rules. This is later on down in the script, and what this is going to do is it's going to check to see if the user has a .mailfilter file. If the user does have a .mailfilter file, it's going to go ahead and it's going to run it. Now that we've shown you that it's going to run it and why you need to enable the spam box for the user, let's go ahead and jump into actually writing some rules and how those actually need to be accomplished. And to actually set up the rules, what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to go into the user's mail directory. Remember, we were going to use the postmaster under example.com. And if you do ls-a, you see there's actually nothing here yet. Now, to actually create rules, and you can go and Google how to write some more advanced rules than what I'm going to show you here. I'm just going to show you some simple mail filtering ones to put messages in specific folders. You can actually go through and Google maildrop and mail filter, and you'll find there's a lot of advanced options that you can really do with it. Some people I've even seen use it as a replacement for Spam Assassin. So I mean, just by saying that, you realize that it's a very powerful tool, and there's a whole lot of things you can do with it. Now, to actually start filtering, we need to create a mail filter file. And that does have a period on the front of it. It is a hidden file. So I'm just going to go ahead and touch that because we also need to chown it. We need to own it by vpotmail, and then we need to own it by vchkpw. Okay. Now if we get a directory listing of everything, you should see that is there, and it does have the correct permissions. Okay, so let's go ahead and just start editing the file. And, the first rule is to go ahead and write we'll go ahead and we will write a rule to sort our Qmailtoaster mailing list into a Qmailtoaster folder. Now I'm going to assume that you have, I'm not going to do it here in this video, but I'm going to assume that you have logged in and on that user created a folder called Qmailtoaster with a capital Q. So if you have not done so already and you're running IMAP on your email client, you would need to go and create a folder called Qmailtoaster with a capital Q, or you can log into webmail and go ahead and create that folder yourself. I don't think we actually need to cover that in this video. I think pretty much everybody at this point knows how to create a folder in IMAP. Now, I always like to put some type of comment in here. Just so I know what the rule is at a glance. And now let's actually get into writing the mail drop or mail filter script. And to filter mail according to the who, you're going to use that command right there. And what this says is if a message comes in and it is to the Qmailtoaster list at qmailtoaster.com, now we create our brackets so that it knows we're going to create an exception to the natural delivery path because we're going to deliver it to vhome, and these variables are passed. You can just assume that they're going to work because we're going to create them into the vpotmail's home directory. maildir.qmailtoaster. Make sure to put the ending or trailing slash, and then we do our closing bracket because we are now closing the exception, and then we are now closing the if statement. So now the way this actually reads is when a message comes in and it hits the user, it'll run through the mail filter script. The mail filter script is going to check to see if it's spam or not. If it scores above the match, then it's going to run it to SALearn and move it into the user's spam folder. If it does not, it's going to check to see if the user has a .mailfilter file. If they do have a .mailfilter file, then it's going to go ahead and it's going to run that script, and that's the script we're creating here. And here, the way this script reads is when a message comes in, if it is to Qmailtoasterlist.com or Qmailtoaster-list at Qmailtoaster.com, that we're going to break the natural delivery path and we're going to create an exception. And if the message matches this to, we're going to move it into the user's .qmailtoaster file. Because if you've played around with the folders any at all, you realize that when you create a folder in IMAP or in webmail, which is just an IMAP client, that it does create the folder, but it always puts a period in the front of it because it's actually a hidden directory. So now the message will come in, and when it's to the Qmailtoaster list, it's going to move it into the Qmailtoaster directory. See, it looks complicated at first, but once you really get into it, it's honestly not that hard. I mean, you can really, from here, you can just cut and paste. And we will do that for the next one. We'll assume that you are a member of the development list. So we will call this one QMT-dev. And now for the development list, go in and create in IMAP a folder called QMT-dev. And in this example, that's all going to be in capital letters. So basically exactly what you see here, QMT-dev. And now we're going to change this to, if we get on the right window, if the incoming to matches Qmailtoaster devel at Qmailtoaster.com, we're going to break the natural email delivery, and we're going to create an exception, and we're going to deliver it to the user's QMT-dev. And remember, you need that trailing slash in there. Now, I've tried some different things with this, and I've never been able to, getting spaces in folder names to work is a real pain in the butt. So I really recommend against using those because of the way the variables expand. It doesn't always translate nicely. Just basically don't use spaces in your folder names. Use hyphens or underscores if you need to separate words. Okay, now that we have the Qmailtoaster list set up, let's do another little example. What if if it's in the CC? Because I see that a lot of users on the Qmailtoaster list, well, not a lot, but some of the new users like to, when they reply, send the message to the last poster, and then also CC it to the mailing list, which, honestly, a little side note here, I find kind of annoying when people do that to me, because then I get 2 copies of the same message, one in my inbox and one on the mailing list. My little thing there, it's kind of annoying. So now we need to check and see if the Qmailtoaster-list at Qmailtoaster.com is in the CC field. And the syntax is very similar to the one we had just created above. Let's see. Make sure we put our trailing slash there. Now, if the message matches, we're going to create an exception. Because we're going to break the natural delivery path. And we're going to use vHome because this variable is passed. And what that variable is actually going to expand out to is /home/v. In this particular instance, I'm just using postmaster@example.com. vHome is going to expand out to /home/vpopmail /domains/example.com/postmaster. And then we need to do into the maildir. And we want to put it into the correct folder. Remember your trailing slash. Close our exception and close our if statement. Now what this is going to do is when a message comes in and if it matches the to Qmailtoaster dash list at qmailtoaster.com, it's going to move it into the Qmailtoaster IMAP folder. If a message comes in and it matches in the CC field Qmailtoaster list at qmailtoaster.com, it's going to move it into the Qmailtoaster folder once again. So now with these two rules here, if a message comes in from the Qmailtoaster list and it was sent to either the Qmailtoaster list in either the to or the CC fields, it'll get moved into the correct folder. And you can do the same thing with a development list if you'd like. Now there are some other examples where some other mailing lists, I'll give you another little example here that you can show you that some of the syntax can be very advanced with it. What if you're on a mailing list, and let's go ahead and just create a new container here. And what if they don't put the mailing list name in the to or the CC fields? Well, we can get around that too if the return path equals something. So what we're going to do here is we're going to create the rule that's going to match return path. And I know the postfix list is a bad one for this. It's something I find kind of annoying with their list. And I hate to use another mail distribution as an example, but well, it's the only one I have handy, so we'll go ahead and we'll use it. And so now you can see that, let's see here, I got too many parentheses there. Now if the return path matches the owner-postfix. Make sure we got all this right here. There we go. Now if the return path matches owner-postfix, and that can match a whole lot of different things there, because we did not put the closing bracket, because sometimes they do put the message tail in there. Let's go ahead and we'll create our exception. And we're going to move this into our vhome/maildir/postfix, assuming you have a folder called postfix for the postfix mailing list. And I'm on several different mail program mailing lists just because I like to keep up and see what the other ones are doing, what may be going on with them. Another one that I'm on that also does something similar to this, where they don't have the to or CC to the actual mailing list, is the Kickstart mailing list, and I am on this one as well. And we'll go ahead and we'll create a rule here. So if the return path matches kickstart-list-bounces, and I think we need that trailing slash there because we want to match pretty much everything. Then we're going to create an exception, and we're going to move the message into our vhome/maildir/, and we're going to assume that you created a folder called Kickstart. You know what? Back up here in the postfix ones, I forgot the period that would be there for your IMAP folder. Okay, back down to our Kickstart. Remember your trailing slash, and we close brace the exception, and we close brace the if statement. So now when a message comes in, if it comes in and the return path of the message matches kickstart-list-bounces, then it's going to move it into the Kickstart folder under IMAP for you. And then we'll go ahead and we'll save and we'll close out of here. And that's it. Those are the rules. Now whenever messages come in, it will actually run through those rules for you and sort the mail on the server. And as I mentioned before, there's a lot of advantages to that. You don't have to worry about the actual mail user agent filtering the mail and having to worry about matching up rules and multiple email clients and things of that nature. Some of them may not even support email rules. So here, by using the mail filter script, which remember has a period in the front of it, we can actually sort our email on the server. The other advantage to this is also if you happen to, not have be at any of your computers and you log in via webmail, well, the mail will still have gotten filtered into the correct folders for you because it did it at the delivery level. And for some more advanced things you can do with maildrop, I definitely recommend that you go and Google and look around quite a bit. There's a lot of different options you can match. For me, for basically sorting my mail into the correct folders, I haven't found too many instances where I needed to use anything more than the to, CC, or return path fields. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to need them. It just means that I don't need them, and well, that's all I'm going to cover in this video. So once again, like I said, go ahead and Google it and get some more information on it. Learn how to write some more customized mail filter scripts for your users or for yourself. And if you run into a particular problem, well, I'm sure Google has an answer for you. Google has an answer for just about everything, even things you don't want to know the answer to. And that's going to conclude this video. We thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you next week.